Hey YouTube, I'm John the City Farmer. I'm back here to show you a little bit about tomato plants, a couple tips for growing them. And down there you can see I have a couple tomato plants. I have some stakes beside them. It's very important to stake these things up. And notice I have a basil plant. It's supposed to be a good companion plant for tomatoes. I can't really tell any difference in how well they grow with basil, but people tell me to do that, so I do. As I said before, I learned most of my stuff from books, and so books are a great way to learn things. Here, so this tomato plant you can see right here, a couple things. One, you see these little, people call them suckers that are growing out the side of it right here. A lot of people say to pinch these out. I pinch them out. However, I have read other places where it says it doesn't make any difference. Whether you pinch them or not, it grows the same amount of tomatoes. The theory is it'll put more effort into the tomato and the rest of the plant and not into the suckers. So whether that theory works or not. Now, I got a little ball of yarn here, you string, whatever. I'm going to tie this tomato to the stake, right, that I have, because otherwise it's just going to fall over. So just real easy. You don't want to tie it tight. I don't really want it pushed up against the stake necessarily. And we're going to eventually tie it as it grows up higher. We're going to keep tying it higher and higher. Notice I just made this out of some bamboo and a little wooden metal fence post. So there's the tomato. When you plant these tomatoes, I start my tomatoes from seed. So maybe you don't start them from seed, but when you plant them, you want to put them deep into the ground. If you look at these real closely, if you look at your tomato plants, you see all these little fuzzy hairs coming off the side of the stem and all these. You see the fuzzy hairs? These will all become roots when you plant them. Some people even plant their tomatoes laying down their side and let them grow up that way. I don't do that, but I put them good and deep, all the way past the initial leaves that come out, a couple inches deep, so the stems will develop better roots, make a stronger root system. These tomatoes here, I started gardening because of tomatoes. These tomatoes here, I found this was a good spot because somebody at my school where I teach in a public school, they gave me like 25 tomato plants. I just planted them everywhere, all around my yard, out in the middle of the grass, in the flower beds, in the, wherever. So I planted my tomatoes everywhere. And so eventually I found this weird spot underneath my deck. It's kind of half shady. And I started planting them, and the soil was perfect. The tomatoes just grew like crazy. So I've been planting there ever since. Every now and then I give it a year off. But that's what I do. You'll notice I have a lot of mulch around the tomatoes. I prefer straw, but I have to spend money to buy straw. The mulch was free with the wood chips. But usually I've had this mulch now for several months before I put tomatoes in. I don't put new mulch around them. So that would be my recommendation there. You can see I got all these eggshells for my chickens and banana peels and all kinds of other stuff down here. That's because I'm lazy on my compost. I just toss stuff into the garden. It's not the best way. It's better if you bury it and get this compost underneath the ground. But I don't want to do the whole compost pile thing. It takes too much work, and I'm all about just letting the stuff grow and not doing work. Anyway, there you go, YouTube. There's a little tip about tomatoes. Tie them to the stake, pinch off the suckers, or maybe not on the suckers, and plant them deep when you plant them, and you have some great tomatoes in the future.